next year. So please be sure to do that. Secondly, we have Mayor Bell here tonight to give his State of the City address. I'm really excited about that. This is the first time that has happened, and as I was saying earlier, he gives it at the Kiwanis, he gives it at Rotary, and after 95 years, we're excited that he's giving it at the junior level. We feel very strongly that this is where you should be tonight. We have 2,500 members, and we put $1 million into this community every year and 55,000 volunteer hours. So this is a force to be reckoned with, and we are excited to have you here to give your State of the City address. And thirdly, tonight, we are really excited. We will reveal our centennial gift, the surprise of the century. The gift that we will provide to the city of Birmingham 5 years from now, and the campaign that will get us there and make it happen. So we are thrilled you are all here tonight. Sit back, relax, learn about your city and the difference that you're about to make in it.
Very quickly, it may be hard to believe, but it's really time to start thinking about what you might want to do next year in the league. And to that end, the Willingness to Serve survey will be coming out probably in about the next week. You'll get an email with a link to the survey where you can indicate any interest you might have in serving as a leader in the league. So please, when that comes out, take a look, nominate yourself for anything you're interested in. And that tells us what you're willing to do so that when the board comes and sits down for leadership selection, we'll know what you want to do and can place you accordingly. So, thank you.
All right, I'm not going to trip again, I promise. Well, I don't know that I can promise that. I have to put my reading glasses on because his bio is quite impressive. I am going to give you some of the highlights because I want you to actually hear from him tonight instead of from me. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce Mayor William Bell. He is the 33rd mayor of the city of Birmingham of Alabama. He is one of Birmingham's most dynamic, effective, and respected public servants with a political career that spans over 30 years. In 1979, Mayor Bell was elected to the Birmingham City Council and served there for over 25 years. My glasses need to be stronger. In 1985, his peers elected him to serve as the first African-American City Council president, and he was again chosen president in 87 and 97. In 2009, he was elected to serve on the Jefferson County Commission representing District 1, where he fought to save jobs and provide adequate health care for the residents of Jefferson County. In 2010, he was elected mayor of Birmingham and was re-elected in 2011 and 2013. A product of Birmingham's Titusville community, Mayor Bell is a staunch advocate for community development and revitalization. He is a graduate of John Carroll High School and the University of Alabama at Birmingham, where he received his master's degree in psychology and guidance and counseling. He furthered his education by receiving a doctorate in jurisprudence from Miles College. Without any further ado, Mayor Bell.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, let me apologize for running a little bit late. This has been a very long day, but a very important day. I am truly grateful for the opportunity to come here tonight. I know you're in the midst of selecting your slate of officers, and I think it's safe to say in this particular place, I'm with her. As mayor, you know, sometimes it feels like I'm walking in a dream, because little did I know that growing up in a segregated society that one day that I would be the leader of this great city, a city that I have loved from the very moment that I knew what a city was all about, a city that has given me the opportunity to do and see things and go places and be a part of a positive change in our community. In 2010, when I became mayor of the city of Birmingham, and I like to remind people so they don't think that we just all of a sudden just popped our finger and all of a sudden things started happening here in the city of Birmingham. But in 2010, the city was faced with a $78 million deficit that was looming, and it presented many challenges to the city because under the law, the mayor and the city council and all of our department heads are under the obligation of not ending the fiscal year in a deficit. I was sworn in January. Our fiscal year ended in June. That meant less than 6 months we had to turn the city's finances around and get back in the black. We had to do a lot of dramatic things. Some things angered the public because we had to put some projects on hold. It angered some of our employees because we had to cut back on some things that they were promised. But the law required that we must make the tough decisions, and we did that. But we also recognize that a city just can't make do. We just can't barely break even. We just can't be stagnant. That we have to look for growth. We have to look for opportunity. We committed at that time to try to continue work on the Railroad Park, a park that really was transformative in terms of the perception that people had of our great city. We didn't just stop there. We entered into conversations with a gentleman by the name of Don Logan to bring the Birmingham Barons back to Birmingham. And I had to stop Don at the very beginning of our conversation because I said that before I start talking to you about bringing the Barons back, there's one person I need to go and speak with. And that person was Tony Patelis, who was the mayor of Hoover. And many of you know that the Barons were located in Hoover at the time. Because I wanted to end this squabble between Birmingham versus the other cities. That we all lived in this valley that we call Jones Valley, and what's good for Birmingham is good for Hoover. What's good for Hoover is good for Birmingham. What's good for Birmingham is good for Trussville. What's good for Trussville is good for Birmingham. What's good for Birmingham is good for Fairfield. What's good for Fairfield is good for Birmingham. And I wanted to demonstrate a willingness to cooperate. Well, we had a meeting over at the Winfrey Hotel. We had a dinner meeting there. And when I told Mayor Patelis what I was planning on doing, he said, "You're trying to steal the Barons from us." I said, "Wait a minute, Mayor, y'all stole it from us 20 years ago. I'm just stealing back what you stole from me." And he did the same thing. He started laughing. But once we went through the process of discussing and looking towards the future for both what Hoover wanted to do with their field and what we wanted to do in our field, we came to a conclusion that it was in the best interest of the Barons, the city of Birmingham, and Hoover for the Barons to relocate. We received much criticism at the time. I'll remind you, we had a $78 million budget deficit, and here we were talking about spending $75 million to build a baseball stadium. Received a lot of criticism. Some people said the Barons would never move back to Birmingham. Some people said that the city doesn't have any money, they can't afford to build it. Some people said they don't have the land, where are they going to put it? But we were able to work very diligently with the owner, work very diligently with the property owners in the area as well as UAB, and we were able to locate the property. And we invested that $65 million. Well, I stand here before you today and say that that $65 million that we invested in bringing the Barons back to Birmingham, which each year have set an attendance record at their stadium. Each year they, well, they didn't win a championship this year, but that's neither. but each year they've been successful. But more importantly, the $65 million that we invested in that stadium has yielded over $300 million worth of investment. If you drive down there right now, you will see the apartments, the businesses, a lot of activity. People are moving back into the area. Tomorrow morning at 6:45 a.m., we will be cutting the ribbon on a new Publix grocery store in downtown Birmingham. The $300 million does not include the investment that's being made in the new Pizitz that's opening up as a residential complex with restaurants and shopping facilities inside that facility. It doesn't include other developments that has taken place in downtown Birmingham. So that $65 million has paid off very greatly. When you drive over in the Avondale area that people once would have avoided like the plague, but now you have restaurants and businesses that are moving back into the area, and it has been totally transformed. When you look at what's happening in Woodlawn, with new residential communities that are being developed in those areas and other investments that we made throughout the city, Birmingham has changed. And it didn't change just because of William Bell. It changed because of atmosphere of cooperation and collaboration with our business community, with our city government, with our county government, with our state government. That is the way we have been able to transform Birmingham from a city that a few years ago they said was on the verge of becoming the second largest city in the state of Alabama, to now that we have about 10,000 new citizens have moved within the borders of the city of Birmingham. And we expect that number to grow. We continue to do things out of the box. For example, we announced a few weeks ago that we're planning on moving our municipal court, our police department, as well as our fire department over to the Ensley community to redevelop the tallest building in the Ensley area that used to be the headquarters for U.S. Steel here in Alabama. What that will do, it will cause a revitalization in that area. And the same growth and prosperity that you see taking place on the south side of Birmingham, Avondale, Woodlawn, will also take place in that community who are in sorely needed of jobs and businesses to move into that area. We will continue to work to redo our roads and our streets. You know, no one wants to ride on a bumpy street. We're about to invest $9 million in paving new roads. But more importantly, we're in a collaboration with the Department of Transportation for the state of Alabama to rebuild our infrastructure, to bring new lighting throughout the city of Birmingham. I see one of your sayings is illuminating Birmingham? We are illuminating Birmingham. In some of the communities, we've already began to change out the old yellow phosphorus lighting to new LED lighting. And that will take place all throughout the city to brighten up our communities, to give new light on our communities. We're doing a lot of things to improve the quality of life throughout our city. But we've got to invest in our people. To that end, we just received a $6 million federal grant that will train young people on the 1,500 technology jobs that exist right now in the city of Birmingham. If I told you that we were recruiting a company that was about to bring 1,500 jobs here, everyone would say, hey, that's wonderful. Well, right now we have 1,500 jobs a year on average that go unfilled in the technology arena. And it doesn't require you to have a BS degree or a master's degree or a PhD to get those jobs. You just have to have the technical training given to you. That's what that $6 million is all about. We're in negotiations and working with the University of Alabama in Birmingham and all of the corporate community to develop what we call Innovate Birmingham. Innovate Birmingham will have the technological infrastructure of a 600 gigabyte system that we can do research, that we can attract businesses to come in and plug into that system and build their corporate technology base right here in the city of Birmingham. It will give us an advantage on attracting businesses into this area. It's all about building a strong city, a city that can attract young talent to this city, a city that can give them the environment that they can prosper and grow. I'm excited about what's taking place in Birmingham. I'm looking forward to the time that we can look back and say, well, the old Birmingham that we used to know 5 years ago no longer exists. And it doesn't exist right now. Right now, you can go downtown and get on a zip bike. I don't ride bikes anymore. But if I did ride a bike, they would be available in downtown Birmingham. We've changed the whole atmosphere of this city. We still have some challenges. We're not a perfect city. We have not solved all the issues of crime, issues of education within our school system. There are still challenges. But I know one of the hallmarks of the Junior League is to support reading initiatives in our schools. One of the hallmarks of the Junior League is to work with our educational system to help turn it around, to make it a place that anyone who wants to give their child a proper education can really feel that the Birmingham public school system will be a strong component. We're not there yet, but with collaboration with organizations like yourselves, we can get there. When I became mayor, there were some iconic features that I wanted to bring back. That was a part of my childhood growing up. On Fifth Avenue and about 25th Street or 24th Street, there used to be a sign that said, "Welcome to Birmingham," near the old terminal station. Well, I searched and searched and searched. That old sign had been torn down. It had been melted and no longer existed. But because of the Rotary group, they built the Rotary Trail, and they built a facsimile of the old sign that used to be there. We brought it back. When you go and look out in the right field of the Birmingham Barons field, there's a Penny's puppy that used to represent Penny's dog food. In my childhood, you used to drive across the First Avenue Viaduct at 26th Street. You could see that dog there wagging his tail. He doesn't wag his tail anymore, but at least he's out there in right field. and I say these things because going back to that sign that said, "Welcome to Birmingham," I thought that was something that the city had done. And as I was trying to research where it was to get it and put it back up, I found out that in 1926, a man by the name of Edgar Elliott, who was a lawyer in this city, I think he has a grandson or a great-grandson that still practices law here in Birmingham, he donated that sign to the city of Birmingham to give thanks for being able to make a living in this community, to give thanks for being able to raise his family in this community. That was a philanthropic heart that this gentleman had. Well, we've got other individuals today who are giving back. We have other organizations who are giving back. And I know this is an organization that will continue to give back. And I want to encourage you to do that. And set an example for other organizations to give back. Because when I watch TV in the morning, I'm looking at Good Morning America or the Today Show, and I see people in the audience, rarely do I see somebody say, "Well, I'm from Hoover," or "I'm from Trussville." They all say, "I'm from Birmingham." Whether they live in the city, whether they work in the city or not, we all know that Birmingham represents the entire area. And if you're proud of Birmingham, you're proud of everything else. And as I tell people all the time, I want to make sure that when people come to Birmingham, that our living room, which is the downtown area, is nice and neat, and that we're working on the bedroom and the den and the other areas. And I need your help. I need you to speak positive of the city. I need you to work those areas that we have challenges in. I need you to step up. And if you can't do it, encourage other organizations to do it, to help us make a city that we all can be proud of, to help us make a city that we can leave a lasting legacy to those who follow behind us. So I'll be happy to entertain any question that you might have on any subject. As I say, I know a little bit about everything, but not a whole lot about any particular thing. So I'll be happy to entertain questions.
Oh, come on, I know they asked that.
Yes.
Have you had, hi, I'm Allie Steele, and I live in Chelsea actually, but
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the news about Birmingham becoming a sanctuary city. And how is that, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the community and overall? And I know that the governor's not
I can tell you the
happy
feedback that
about
I've got from the
but-
governor of Washington. They're trying to cut our funds off.
Yeah, but in general, kind of, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, Birmingham has always been a city that represented human rights. In fact, we were just designated by the president for our civil rights district as being a national monument. When you travel to countries around the world, they know of Birmingham as the epicenter of the civil rights movement that took place. This city was transformed from a city of hate to a city of inclusiveness. Most of the people, when you study the history of Birmingham, most of the people who settled here were from other places, other countries. And for us to turn into a city that the federal government can use as an arm of its enforcement of immigration laws is just unacceptable. That's not to say that we can't use rational, humane ways to allow people to come into this country. But I, as long as I'm the mayor, will not be a part of any draconian measures that will persecute people simply for wanting to live the life that we're living here right now. Questions? Yes.
Any improvements on the public transportation in the city?
Yes. In fact, we're working on several aspects of public transportation. First of all, in about another month, we will have the opening of the new intermodal facility down on Morris Avenue, which I don't know how many of you have been to train over the last few years, but we have the worst train facility in the country. Not just in Alabama, in the country. But we're finally going to get a new intermodal facility with a fantastic train terminal, new facilities for our Greyhound bus, as well as our local transportation. We're also working on what we call a BRT system, Bus Rapid Transit System, that will, the first leg will tie the Civic Center area to UAB. And it would have a dedicated lane for buses to run up and down, so they won't be intermingled with other traffic, and they'll be able to move faster and quicker. The other aspect of the BRT will be running along the 3rd Avenue corridor from downtown, going to the western area along the 3rd Avenue Investment Superhighway area. We will also be building a BRT system that will go eastward from UAB to the Lakeview area and on out to the airport. So those are programs that are in the works now. We also have what we call a PRT system that we're trying to establish that will be a personal rapid transportation system, a light rail system that will run from the airport to the downtown Civic Center area to transport people through that corridor. So we got several initiatives that we're putting in place. The federal government was very generous to us over the last couple of years, that they've given us money to do planning, and we'll see how that works in the new administration once we get the plans together to be able to access funds to build all of these systems that we're working on. Yes?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I lived in Nashville for a couple of years, and they have a really strong brand, Music City,
Yes.
and that attracted so many millennials to the city. So I'd like to ask you, what do you think the brand image of Birmingham is, and how can we attract more millennials to our city?
Well, you know, believe it or not, Birmingham has a rich history in the music field. We have a rich history in the sports field. And I think what we need to do is establish ourselves as a great sports venue. And we've done that with the IndyCar races that have taken place. We've done that with a lot of the other sports activities. We just had the Davis Cup in here this past weekend. I want to brand us as the Indianapolis 500 of the South, because people like fast cars. You know? They just do. Especially women. Women got lead feet. They like. At least my wife does. I don't know about you. But you know, it's hard to pinpoint what Birmingham's image should be, because we've always been a steel town. People know us as Steel Town. When you one of the great entertainment venues is called Iron City, based on our heritage. If we can play off of that Iron City image with entertainment, I think we can start attracting more and more people. But the real attraction that people have here is our food reputation. We're known around the world as having some of the best restaurants right here. And it not only creates jobs, but it attracts people to come into our city, and we need to capitalize on that particular industry as well. Yes?
I love this past year when you did the Twitter campaign for repaving the roads, like
Yes.
the roads you think need to be repaved.
Yes.
Do you have any plans over the next year to incorporate citizen input on projects via
Yes.
social media?
You know, when I first got involved in the politics, the only way to communicate with the general public was through a telephone, or they show up at council meeting. But with the technology that has developed today, citizens can have input in all manner in shapes and forms with the technology. And we're trying to use that ability for the citizens to communicate with us to really know what the problem areas are and potential solutions. I stand before you, and like I said, I know a little bit about everything, but not a whole lot about everything, and I'm serious about that. But I know that there are other people who may have solutions to the problems that exist. And we've got to find a way to open ourselves up to be acceptable to those solutions. And that's why we want to hear from the public about issues concerning the roads. There'll be other issues that we try to get public input. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to follow what the public wants all the time, because sometimes there's some other factors that might come into play, but at least we have a sense of what the public would like to see. Now let me tell you how we use that information that we got concerning the roads. We took that data, we looked at the roads that we had in our system, the roads that the public thought were needed some services attended to. And we've developed a plan whereby in the next 5 years, if the council approve it, and it's going to be on the agenda within the next 30 days, in the next 5 years, we can pave every road in the city of Birmingham. Also, we're going to develop a plan that those roads will last longer. Now, if you pave a road, it starts deteriorating within 2 years. That means it's going to fall apart at the end of 2 years, but you start seeing little cracks form and other things like that. Well, there's new technology out there in road paving that can make a road last up to 5 years before it starts deteriorating. Now, usually a road that starts deteriorating in 2 years might last 10, 15 years. If you've got one that will last 5 to 10 years before it starts deteriorating, then that road can last 20 years, which means you save money and you have the ability to maintain those roads much easier than you do now. Yes.
So, I've been in Birmingham a long time. My family's not originally from here. I live in the city of Birmingham, in Crestwood. But right now, we're looking at moving because my kids are becoming school aged.
Yes.
What is Birmingham doing to work with the Birmingham City School Board to make Birmingham City Schools what they need to be for all kids?
Yes. One of the biggest problems that our schools have is funding. Each time you take a child out of a school, it takes anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 away from that school system. When you multiply that times 100 kids, that's $700,000. It's $770,000. It's $700,000 that leave the school system. What we've got to do is put more programs into the school system that will keep and attract those students. We've got to improve our test scores. We've got to do the things necessary to make sure that every child can read by the time they're in the 3rd grade. To that end, the mayor has very little power over the school system. You have an elected school board that makes all of the decisions. But where a mayor does come into play is I meet with the superintendent, not just the one now, but every superintendent that we've had since my tenure, to try to find out what they need in order to move this city forward. The problem is we keep a superintendent 2 years max, then they're out of here. We've got to make a commitment that whoever we put in that seat, that we give them the resources and the time necessary to turn our school system around. That's been the biggest problem, and that's what I've been advocating for, is that if you give a superintendent a 4-year contract or a 5-year contract, let them stay 4 or 5 years, and don't try to micromanage that individual. Let them rise or fall based on their own ability that you hired them for. Because I'm a firm believer, when I became mayor, the first decision that I made had to be the best decision. That was who I surrounded myself by. Now, if I got people around me that I've hired, that I've got to micromanage, then that's my fault. That's my fault. And we've got to do the same thing with the superintendent. Give he or she the ability to turn the school system around based on their skills and talents and not micromanage what they're doing. And therein lies what the problem has been. I can take one more question.
You got one more?
Yes.
I don't have a question, Mayor. I'm Allison, the head of the Humane Society.
Yes.
I just wanted to say to everybody that we hear all these negative things about how the county and the city do not work well together. But in my experience of taking over animal control, you have been amazing. You and Jimmy Stevens and the seamless transition and y'all helping us to work on this new project by UAB. I have been amazed at the way that the two entities have worked together to help the citizens with the issues of animals. And I just want to tell you I appreciate it. You're
And you just gave us a plug that you don't even know you gave us probably.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's perfect because our GMM tomorrow, continuing this theme of plugging into our community, Jimmy Stevens is speaking at our meeting tomorrow at 11:30. So he's going to give us the state of the county address. And so, yes, you've been here. Yes, you may not need a credit, but it's going to be great. Come anyway, because I know you want to hear what he has to say. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. over our greater community. Thank you. And now, the Centennial announcement. So for the past 8 months, you've been hearing about it. Since the year started, you knew it was coming. You've heard lots of things. You've heard it's collaborative. You've heard it's significant. You've heard it will be a guiding light in our community for women and children. And now is the time to finally hear what it is. But before I get there, let me do this. I do think it's important to just give a bit of brief history of how we ended up at this moment. It started 18 months ago. It started with the Strategic Planning Committee and thoughts of where do we want to be as an organization at year 100. That committee started a really in-depth review of the needs in our city, the gaps where services were not being provided, and looked at issues that were not just an issue for today, but unfortunately would probably continue to be an issue in 5 to 6 years. In order to fully develop a plan of what they wanted to do, the first thing they did was they set up a meeting here at this building for about 50 executive directors of nonprofits who came together and put up giant Post-its on the wall and collaborated. We made them move around. They couldn't sit with anybody they knew or anybody who gave the same services they did or provided the same services, because we wanted to make sure this really was indicative of our entire community and all of the needs being met. And the number one word that kept recurring was collaborative. No more duplication. How can we join together to provide benefits to women and children truly in need? Thereafter, that same committee met with several different people in focus groups, including other retired executive directors of nonprofits, city leaders, past presidents, community leaders, trying to find out what they saw as a need that was pressing for women and children, and that, whether we like it or not, probably wasn't going to go away, so that we truly could be effective and needed for years to come and move the needle for this city. That culminated in a recommendation that was provided to the executive board last year with Lee Haver at the helm, and she is here somewhere tonight. Thank you, Lee. And the board voted last year to approve this gift to the city. Then finally there was a site visit to make sure, and we went to Florence, if that gives you a clue, to go look at something that was working there. And there was no doubt at that point. This was exactly where the Junior League needed to be. I will tell you that the gift is going towards a building, but not for the Junior League of Birmingham. It is a permanent home for a relatively new nonprofit that has been operating out of a basement in town for 1 day a week. They were provided generously a building by the United Way of Central Alabama recently, and the Junior League gave them $75,000 to renovate it to get it to where they could operate 5 days a week, and they are moving in shortly if they're not already in. And so they are able to operate 5 days a week, but unfortunately the need is so great that they have outgrown the building that was provided to them before they even moved in. So they need a forever home, a permanent home, and a home that's located in the exact right spot to be able to service the women and children who need them. Rather than tell you what that gift is, I am going to let you hear it from the people who created it, the people who work for this agency day in and day out, and more importantly, a survivor who has literally had her life saved because of this organization. And if I'll let me turn the lights off first, if you don't mind. You can see it.
For many women and children, thank you for being here.
And I'm this year's Centennial Chair. I, along with my committee, had the amazing and exciting and overwhelming and sometimes daunting task of creating a fundraiser that would be powerful and inspiring enough to match the resilience and strength of people like Kay. Many years ago, I was sitting in a room, in this room actually, and someone came to talk to us about community. And they said, where do you think you're from? Where are you from? And people said, I'm from Mountain Brook, I'm from Homewood. Piggybacking off of Mayor's comments, we cheated a little bit. People said, I'm from Trustville, I'm from Avondale. And he said, no, I challenge you to think about where you're from a little differently. He said, picture yourself in an airplane, and you're flying over a city. And you know when you fly over a city, there's a collection of lights that touch, and you say, I must be flying over a city, I wonder what's down there. So he challenged us to think about Birmingham as a community of lights that touch. When you fly into the city, and you look over the city, and you fly over that community of lights, and the only way to impact change and to really move the needle on issues as large as domestic violence and sexual assault is for us to think about the community from a community of lights perspective. So that's where the fundraiser was born. That's where we are, community of lights. In thinking about our goals, we really had two goals. One was to raise the money, but secondly, we also really wanted to engage the entire community. We didn't want to do it with large gifts from a few people. We wanted it to be small gifts from a lot of people. In a perfect world, we would have $1 million, $1 from a million people. We really wanted to engage the whole community, not only to make it a group decision and a moving the needle together, but also to continue to expand the mission of One Place as well as the Junior League. So how are we going to do it? This year we've selected 20 torchbearers. Each of these torchbearers are going to carry the light through our city. We selected 20 people from varying backgrounds, each representing different lanes in our community. We challenged ourselves to think differently about our community than we had ever thought before. We challenged ourselves to cast a very wide net. We selected men, we selected women, we selected members and non-members. We selected people of diversity in every definition of that word. Because it is through all people and all lanes in our community that we will come together and build this community of light. We are lucky to have some of the torchbearers here tonight. So if you would like to stand, I would love that. Brett Schaefer. Lee Davis, Bob Battle, and over here Tanya Jones, and Allison Black Cornelius. The other 15 torchbearers are pictured, all 20 actually, are pictured on the wall to your left. So hopefully you'll take the opportunity to look at them and really celebrate what they are doing for us. We have asked each of these torchbearers to raise a minimum of $10,000 and to pass their torch next year to someone of their own choosing. So each year the torch will be passed over the next 5 years. And so at the culmination of our 100th year, we will have had 100 people raise over $1 million. Like I said, for me, the fundraising effort isn't about large money from a few, but smaller amounts from so many. We are asking each of you to be a part of this effort and ignite your light. We will be utilizing the Swell software platform. Some of you may be familiar with this software. Burgess is going to drive it behind me. This software will enable us to raise money in an innovative way that's easy. It's going to reach out to you exactly where you are on your phones, on your computers, and on your iPads. I wanted to take a few minutes to show you the website. This site is full of information about each of the torchbearers, why they chose to participate, who inspires them to be a light in our community, and a lot about their bios and backgrounds, how they've been involved in the community until now. On this site, you'll have the ability to give as many of the torchbearers as you would like, in whatever size gift you would like. You could give $10 to each of them or $1,000 to one of them. The campaign's going to start tomorrow. We're not going to send out the link until tomorrow at noon after the general membership meeting. We did announce it today at the sustainer meeting, so a little bit of money has already tallied. In fact, if y'all gave right now, you could watch that money change. So we have iPads around the room, and so feel free to make your donations tonight. We're going to accept donations from tonight and through May 10th. Anyone who gives at a level of $100 or higher will be issued a ticket to our Community of Lights event, which will be May 10th, 2017. So what I want you to do, please support these torchbearers. These 20 people have been amazing. I'll be honest, we had coffee with each of them and asked them to be torchbearers. And in some cases, I didn't even know the people, and I sat down, some of them did not have a connection to the junior league, and after talking about what we were doing and talking about this project, within 30 minutes, most said yes, which is really powerful and amazing, and I think goes to the history of this organization and what all of you have worked so hard to build. So really excited about that. So I really want us to celebrate them. If you get your haircut at Tanya Jones, if Allison Black inspired you at your provisional retreat, if you work at Alabama Power, or read about these people, if you work at Regions of Fort Bragg, if you go read about these people and figure out who you know. If you don't know, figure out who inspires you, who you like, who you want to support. Please build these people up, because I cannot tell you how amazing and overwhelming and exciting it is that we have this group working for us. So I really want to take this opportunity to thank them, those that are here and those that we will see from online. Awesome. So tonight we're going to have the opportunity to give through iPads. There are about 10 or 15 around. So stick around. Like I said, no gift is too small. Every single person can be a part of this community of light. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a little exercise. We're going to turn out the lights. If I friends to turn out the lights. Now raise up your cell phones. Turn on the lights of your cell phones. And look around. I wish I had my camera to take a picture of y'all. And look around. In your hand right now, you have the power to be a light in our community. That is a powerful, powerful thing. So I hope when you get this link tomorrow, or if you feel compelled to change that number tonight on an iPad, I hope you will give to as many people as you want from now until the end, and really join in and be a part of our community of light and make a big difference in Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming tonight. We appreciate it. I want to brag on Lindsay for 1 second. What she didn't tell you is that at all those torchbearer meetings, what she heard was, the only thing wrong with this is I didn't come up with it myself. Everyone is in love with this campaign. It is such a brilliant way to light up our city, to educate everyone about the Junior League in one place. So I encourage you to give and know that truly this year we are lighting tomorrow with today. One last thing, the members who didn't come tonight will hear about it tomorrow. So don't post anything tonight. Don't call your friends. Wait until noon. They'll be in here at 11:30. At noon tomorrow, the link will go out in an email, and share away. Thank you.